In this video, we're going to be talking about something called kinetic money and how you can harvest the power of self-repaying loans. Yes, this is a completely new concept that does not exist in the traditional finance world that is extremely exciting. So I want to show you how you can use kinetic money to get things for essentially free, or I want to show you how you can also increase the yield that you'd be earning on your stablecoin. So let's just take a look at this for example. So what we're going to be talking about is something called self-repaying loans, right? And to understand this, right, you probably understand how the way like a normal loan works, right? Like you basically will take out, say, $50,000 and you will have to pay like these monthly payments. Let's say you have to pay $1,000 per month, right? And let's say that this $50,000 was go towards purchasing a new car, right? Let's say we purchase a new car with this $50,000, we pay off this debt, right? But what if somebody would just pay off this debt for you, this 50,000 debt? Okay, that would be pretty interesting, right? So what I'm talking about is essentially the ability to basically take out a loan and have this loan repaid for you over time. Okay, interesting, right? So let me explain exactly how this works. So this is Kinetic Money. It's a new protocol on the Terra ecosystem. And essentially what it is doing is it is allowing you to have access to future yield today. Basically, they are going to automatically repay a loan that you take out. And I'll explain exactly how this works and then do a little tutorial at the end. And then I want to show you another yield opportunity with it as well. And let's take a look at this. So here's how it works. So first things first is you deposit your collateral. So this would be like depositing your UST. Okay. So you deposit it into Kinetic. Okay. And then you're able to borrow KUST, which is essentially just another stable coin pegged to the value of UST. It's a synthetic version, so it's similar to like AUST if you're familiar with Anchor. If not, then don't worry, it's just another stable coin. So you deposit UST and you can borrow up to like 50%. So let's say just for example that you deposit $10,000, you could then borrow $5,000 and you could do whatever you want to do with it. And at the same time, this yield is going to get paid down for you. Really interesting, right? So for example, let's just say that we again deposit $10,000 and we are going to borrow $5,000. Well, what Kinetic is doing in the background is earning yield. So you can see it's currently at like 28.82%. So if we just go and we take a look at this, for example, basically, if we borrowed this $5,000, by February 6, 2024, we'd essentially have that entire loan paid off, which is kind of cool, right? So the way that it works is, for example, let's say this $50,000, we want to go buy a new car, we want to buy a new boat, or we want to put a down payment on a home or whatever you want to do, right? So we take our $100,000 worth of UST, we deposit it into Kinetic, okay? Immediately, we're able to get $50,000 right now. With that $50,000 of KUST, you can do whatever you want to. You could withdraw it to your bank account and you could go purchase this car, right? For example, and instead of having a car payment of say $1,000 per month, for basically, I don't know, usually you'd have car payments for, 60 months or 72 months. Well, instead, in literally like, what is it, 2022? In literally 24 months, okay? And instead of paying $1,000 every month, in 24 months, you basically would own this car outright and you would have $50,000 worth of equity in the car, right? So game changer, right? Really, really cool. Okay, so let me show you really quickly how this all works. So this is what the protocol actually looks like. And to give you guys an idea, there was a protocol previously called Alchemex. This was on the Ethereum network that was doing very similar things. It's a self-repaying loan system, but I don't like it as much because it's on the Ethereum network. So obviously things are a lot more expensive, paying for gas fees. Most people aren't going to pay $50 to $100 in gas fees, right? Now, with Kinetic, the way that this works is, again, you would just basically deposit your funds here. So you just click on deposit. You'd say, hey, however much you want to deposit into there, say, for example, you want to deposit $1,000 and then you just click deposit. And there you go. You'll then see this come up in your collateral value right here, right? And then you can go ahead and you can borrow the funds. Now, word of warning, currently the borrow amount is maxed out. Okay, so they had a $17.4 million borrow cap or debt cap, and currently it's been maxed out. So you'll have to wait for an announcement on when this cap increases. So this is the only downfall. So keep your eye out for them. And I'd recommend following them on Twitter because you'll get to know when there's actual funds available for you to borrow. So just that's the one downfall about this. Now, one other interesting option here is you can also deposit AUST as collateral. Now, for those of you guys that don't know, basically AUST is the synthetic asset that you get when you deposit UST into Anchor Protocol. Okay, obviously, a lot of you guys are probably familiar with Anchor Protocol. If you've watched my videos for any period of time, it's basically a glorified savings account where you can earn like 19.5%. Okay, so what the interesting thing is that you could use this AUST as collateral as well, which is so cool because AUST is like, it's basically something you get for free, right? When you deposit your UST into Anchor. So really interesting. Okay, so you could use that as collateral as well. So with that being said, a couple other things. So the way that it works, right, is when you want to repay the loan, you just come in here and you can repay it. Okay. Now, another thing that you can do. So this is how you can basically loop your UST using Anchor to basically get this number to double. So instead of getting 19.5%, here's how you could get like up to 40% APY. So basically what you do is first off, there has to be funds available to borrow, obviously, but what you could do is deposit your UST, right? For example, so let's say, for example, that I go and I deposit $10,000 worth of UST, okay, into here. Well, then I could then go and borrow $5,000 worth of KUST, right? What then I could do is I could trade that KUST for UST again. So now I have 5K worth of UST. And I could deposit this back into Anchor Protocol as well. So let me just explain that a little bit better. So we can deposit our UST into here. Okay, so say we deposit $10,000. We borrow $5,000 worth of KUST. We then go to Astroport and we can sell our KUST for UST. Okay, and at this point we have $5,000 more worth of UST. We can then go back and we could dump that into here. Okay, and then we could borrow half of that. So we could borrow $2,500 worth of KUST, and we could then go sell it for UST, and we could then go deposit it back into here. So actually what you're doing is you're actually doubling up on this. So for example, instead of just having like $10,000 in here earning the 28%, you could have like $20,000 essentially in here earning 28%, doing this synthetically, right? By borrowing. And I think it's not like outrageous to do this because, they're stable coins. So they shouldn't lose peg. You shouldn't get liquidated unless they, USD drastically loses peg, which, it's stood the test of time at this point. It's pretty, it's like the third largest stable coin at this point, right? So anyways, this is Kinetic Money. And if you thought this video was helpful, then you'd think it'd be really helpful to become a member where you can get access to our guidance, our Discord channel. We can talk. You'll see our portfolio, our algorithm, as well as our DeFi playbook. So you can follow all of these DeFi plays before everybody else knows about it, before I make these YouTube videos. So consider becoming a member here at bluedgefinancial.com/crypto. And also, if this video is helpful, please like it and feel free to watch some of the other helpful videos on our channel.